Real quick on the Caps, because there's some NFL stuff I want to get to. But they played badly last night.
Yep.
No doubt about that. You and I got into a near brawl today over this, actually.
A line brawl, yeah.
Darius had to step in and separate us because we were going at each other to such an extent. I was going full Connor McMichael, just getting into a fight I shouldn't have been in. Your point on last night, I'll let you make it, is that you completely disagree with my stance, which is, man, did I love the final 10 minutes of hockey. I found it wildly entertaining. I think it's awesome that in a game in which you're getting shafted by the officials off and on, and I'm not a guy, that's not why they lost the game. They stunk. But there were several times last night where either a call's missed and or two guys are engaging, and for some reason the Capitals going to the box longer than the Hurricane is. So you've got some of that frustration mounting. You've got Sebastian Aho whacking the back of Tom Wilson's leg, who had a torn ACL a couple years ago with a stick. You got skate blade coming up around his legs as well. Like, there were just a couple too many of those moments carelessly as the game went on where the Caps have a decision to either just get worked over on the scoreboard and allow yourself to be pushed around in every other way, or to kind of fight back a little bit. And they did that, which I'm all for, but I know you can't stand.
Oh, I think it's the loseriest thing in the world. And it's not the Caps, it's hockey. But number one, Ovi scored, that's awesome. That was really great. I'm glad that actually happened. And what was otherwise a big waste of time going down there to Carolina.
Speaking of which, we should actually point this out right off the top here for our audience, that we got two watch parties coming up, essentially. Tomorrow, we're live at City Tap House all day long ahead of the Caps game. So if you're going to Capital One Arena, Ovi within 2 of tying, 3 of breaking the record. We're going to be in Penn Quarter in the neighborhood right there where the arena is on 9th Street, 2 blocks away at City Tap House. So if you're rocking your red at the game, there's no reason not to pregame with us. If you're not, and you're anywhere in the area in the city, just get on over there and have some lunch or have a drink and hang out and listen to the show, Friday field trip style. And then on Sunday, we've just added this to the slate.
Yes.
We got a text last night asking if we would be willing to do this, and the answer was, of course, yes. Caddies in Bethesda, our good buddies over there. We did a watch party ahead of the NFC Championship game. It was raucous, one of our best attended events that we did. Maryland showed out. So we're going back to Caddies for Sunday's 12:30 Caps game. This is not a show. We're just hanging out with you guys.
We're just going to watch some hockey, eat some wings, man.
Yeah. So 12:30 start time for the Islanders and the Capitals. It's very unlikely that Ovi breaks the record tomorrow. He would need a hat trick. But if he gets 1 or 2, then it's a real possibility.
Now you're on Ovi watch. I mean,
on Sunday, he gets a goal or 2, he breaks the record, and we'd all be together at Caddies in Bethesda. So
From Bethesda!
2 chances. Friday, City Tap House. That's tomorrow, 2 to 6:30. Sunday from 12:30 until the game ends for a game watch. If you want to hang out with us, a lot of chances to do that.
So just to the point, and that's all good housekeeping. It's all true. Can't wait for it. I can't imagine. I know it's part of hockey culture. It's just normal. So this isn't me calling the Capitals out. I just think it's the most embarrassing thing in the world. We can't compete with you, so let's try to throw some punches. You imagine last night when the Wizards, they got another win, by the way, beat the Kings. Well, Alex Sarr got called for a couple of carries, a couple of chippy fouls. They couldn't make threes, so let's swing on DeMar DeRozan. In baseball, the Nets couldn't really hit very much. So let's have a guy do a dirty slide at second base and have the benches clear. See if we can get a brawl or something. A couple guys ejected. Well, Washington got a couple bogus holding penalties, local 53. So let's do a couple late hits, see if we can start a fight because we're down double digits to Philadelphia. I can't believe it's a thing. It looks, I remember once in a tournament I played in forever ago, we beat some team and they were pissed off about it. And so one of the guys in the handshake line said, we can't beat you in a game. Let's see if we can beat you in a fight, and shove somebody. And it just was so pathetic. And that's all it is to me is, well, it's not going our way. Let's throw hands. And we're lucky nothing terrible happened. We're lucky that Connor McMichael isn't concussed or his head got cracked open, shouldn't be fighting, and he got body slammed. I'm sure that was fine, by the way.
That was on him for getting into a fight, though. I mean, first of all, the whirling dervish body slam is against everything in hockey code, so it shouldn't happen, and it doesn't happen, in fairness. That guy should have been suspended a game or 2, and he didn't get suspended. I agree with that. But also, Connor McMichael shouldn't be fighting. Like, you're not a fighter. I think the moment felt pretty fun.
Right.
And he wanted to get on the action. You don't remember this. This is going to be a reference that means nothing to you, but a lot of our listeners hopefully will enjoy it. There's a scene in Mighty Ducks. If you need to take a minute, go ahead.
I'm just going to take my headphones off.
Yeah. Where Dean Portman and his fellow Bash brother, Fulton Reed, are getting into a fight, right? And like one by one, some of the Ducks are now getting into it, a la last night in the third period. But eventually, the figure skater that they brought in to be on their team, Kenny Wu. Remember him?
No.
Woo, Kenny Wu?
No.
He's just a figure skater. He's a
Okay.
very small boy, wee little guy. Well, he gets into a fight and he just like pulls the jersey over and he's trying to fight this guy. But then he comes into the box. That's what I imagine Connor McMichael showing up in the dressing room was like last night.
Whoa, guy. Yeah.
When Tom Wilson's had his game misconduct and Duhaime, who gets in fights all the time, is game misconduct. Those guys are undressing and getting in the shower. Nick Dowd occasionally will mix it up. He's livid, getting several minutes last night, 12 minutes of PIMS. He gets a game misconduct, like one after another. But then all of a sudden, McMichael comes in and they're like, "What the heck's Kenny Wu doing?
What are
here?
you doing here? Did you get lost?
You're not supposed to be
did
here.
You break
yet.
a shoelace on your skate?"
But
So yeah, it apparently sends this message, and the message to me is we can't compete with you, so we're going to try to fight you. I don't see that. That doesn't have the weight to me. No, again, it's the culture, and that's what they. It's time immemorial. Hockey teams do this. We're down by a couple goals. Let's have someone fight somebody else, and everybody claps as if it's the right thing to do. But I just think when you're down that much and it's not competitive because you've been run out of the gym or the barn that night, it's the loseriest thing possible.
I would agree if the calculation was we're going to fight you because we're losing 5-1, which I don't think is what happened last night. And more often than not doesn't happen. There are blowouts in the NHL all the time. Now, oddly enough, or excitingly enough, I guess, the Capitals have not really been blown out like that all year.
Very little.
This was the first time all season they've lost a game like that, where it was 4 goals and it was just they got completely worked. Game took 75 games basically to get there. So that's a gigantic win. That's going to happen a couple times a season normally. But there are every night in the NHL 5-0,
Sure,
6-1 games where this does not happen.
In every pro league there is, with the travel schedules, back-to-backs, long grinding road trips, whatever. I mean, it's a normal thing.
But
Sure.
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you don't fight the other team because they're beating you by a lot. That's not what happens. You fight the other team because while they're beating you by a lot, in this case, they are doing things that are across the line. They're doing things that you perceive to be kind of punking you or sunning you a little bit, or rubbing your face in it, and or tapping yourself on the head. It's the equivalent of crossing the unwritten rules that you know very well as a college baseball player, where little things, again, like the Aho dodging of Wilson at center ice when he goes to hit him last night, and the stick hits him in the back of the leg. He was livid about that. He wanted to get at Wagner for a hit a little bit earlier on. There were little liberties being taken where, hey, it's a 5-1 game. We're all skating around trying to keep each other healthy. But if there's a couple of those things that we think crosses the line or we don't like, oh, by the way, we're skating angry, to your point, because of the current result and because of the officiating. I think it all adds up. But I think every team in the league, the Capitals are no different, are perfectly capable of taking their medicine and just getting beat handily without fighting a bunch of people, if it's done in a way where you're not crossing the line. And maybe because it's a division rival, because you hate the Hurricanes, because you have bad relationship and bad blood with these guys, and there's going to be a lot of jawing. It's just going to get there anyway, inevitably, over 60 minutes. But I'm excited. These teams play again in 8 days. I can't wait for that game. Could be some fireworks there. A couple of guys having to answer the bell, perhaps. But more importantly, they got to get back on track.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the part I care about.
They've lost 4 out of 5. Ovi's record is now a formality. It's going to happen. It looks like it's a lock. He needs 3 more. Got plenty of time to do it. But we'll ask Chikrin about the fact that they just need to play better hockey, too. It's like that, to me, is a no-brainer as well. But that was at least entertaining, fun to watch last night in the final minutes of that game. But you're also anti-fighting in general in hockey. So you would get rid of it tomorrow. It's like the Dylan McElrath fight 2 nights ago that was the fight of the year did nothing for you.
No. And I fully admit that I'm biased in that way. So this is just, further down the line to me in terms of that. Like, I don't think we should be punching each other. It's just my general stance. But even with that, I think this is kind of a separate silo, but they're somewhat argued it's feeding out of the same trough. In other words, like if you're against fighting, you're probably against this kind of fighting too. It's just the way that it looks to me is the biggest problem.
Do you think it looks small? Like to you, it looks like you're getting beat, and so you like slap someone or whatever.
Precisely. So it's like their coach is a horse's ass, and who I hate Rod Brind'Amour.
He's such a loser.
Hated him as a player.
God,
and
he stinks.
You're now basically going, hey, the things you tried to do to agitate me, not only are you kicking my ass, but they worked. You did it. You've gotten everything you wanted out of this game. I'm now more concerned with punching you back than I am with beating you in the hockey match. So to me, it's like you're defeated everywhere, and the best thing you can do is try to face wash somebody and hope that it works out. I think it's so losery.
I guess if I viewed it the way you do, like they're doing that because they're down 4 goals, I would probably also feel the same way. Like sourpuss, sour grapes. You got worked over, and now you're down a bunch of goals. You can't score on my guy, so you're going to fight me. That's embarrassing. I didn't think that's what it was last night. Like Nick Dowd as an example, who's on with the Junkies today. I've never seen him as angry as he was last night.
He was livid.
He was in the box, standing up, trying to get after and go. Like, that's not because they're losing by 4. Nick Dowd's lost by 4 15 times in his career. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Like, there is bad blood and things that have happened throughout the game where, again, like, if I'm in a tight game, I got to let it go. I don't have to let things go anymore. This game is irrelevant. It's over. We're skating around wasting time until the final seconds. and you're going to punk me. You're going to sun me. You're going to take a late shot at me. You're going to whack me in a spot you're not supposed to. All that little stuff that you normally let slide, that normally just ends up being a non-factor, becomes worth fighting over. But I kind of like the ability for everyone to jaw and to talk. I hate when the guys that can't and don't fight start fighting. That's where I draw the line a little bit. Because the beauty of hockey, and this is just one of those things a lot of people don't get, even though there aren't written rules, everybody is policed by a code. And so the fighter fights the fighter only. You can't go fight the guy that doesn't fight. If he asks for it, maybe you could accept it. Remember Jay Beagle getting knocked out by Aaron Asham years ago, out cold. And Connor McMichael, for some reason I will never understand, tried to fight. Now, he didn't fight someone that fights a whole lot, but he ends up getting body slammed on the ice and slamming his head, and he's feeling the back of his head for blood. It's a dirty play to slam you. That should not happen. But you know what else shouldn't be happening? You shouldn't be fighting because you don't know how to fight and you don't know how to brace yourself and to avoid that body slam when he tries to do it. So the whole thing was, got sideways in that way.
And that's part of my larger point about fighting in general is we're amazed that sometimes, well, this breaks the code. Well, when two guys are grabbing and throwing hands at each other, there's might be bound to be more accidents than when you're not doing that.
Sure.
Like you and I right now somehow are not slamming each other's heads into the ground. If we were engaged in fisticuffs right over there, something bad might happen. Like you're far more at risk. But your point's well seen. It's like the untrained guy going, I want to play too. And it's like, nah, now's not the time, Connor.
They do a really good job, I'd say, largely by playing within the unwritten rules and the code, so to speak. But I also think in hockey, there is a policing that has to happen because of the violence of the game, the speed of the game, the contact, the hits, the physicality that maybe isn't as necessary. Like when Jason Wirth says, we got to police our game, we got to hit each other, whatever. I don't necessarily think that's true. In hockey, I don't know that there's another way, really, to be honest with you. Like, I think it's 1,000% true that if you know Tom Wilson's going to beat your ass, if you take a dirty shot at Alex Ovechkin, you're not going to take the dirty shot at Alex Ovechkin. That changes the way players operate. If you do something you're not supposed to do, you're going to have to drop the gloves at center ice, start the next period or whatever. When someone comes out and has a conversation with you, you're less likely to do the thing. And there's not really another way to do that, in my opinion.
How do they do it in football or lacrosse without having fights?
Lacrosse, I can't speak to. I don't watch.
I don't watch it either. I'm thinking of sports where there's checking and some violence.
Football is. I just think the comp isn't good because in hockey, the full speed nature of the collisions, like you are allowed to hit violently, constantly, all the time in motion. Whereas in football, there's a start and stop to every play, if that makes sense. Like it just, if you do something dirty in football after the play, generally there's a fight. Certainly in practice and these training camp gatherings and whatever else, you're going to fight the guy. In a game, you would get penalized and ejected, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, they still try to fight all the time and hit each other in the helmets and do stupid things. In hockey, I think you see far less of that nonsense because of the way they police it.
I don't know about that. I think there's way more accepted extracurricular in hockey than in any other sport combined. Like, to me, the football guys pushing after the whistle or whatever. And that's my point, is we just accept it as part of the sport. But the argument,
you can't change it.
You're making the circular argument going, well, it's part of the sport. And the reason it's part of the sport is this. There's no other way to do it. My point is, sure there is, but we don't want to change it because it's part of the sport.
No, you can't tomorrow just say, hey, in hockey, there's no, when you say extracurricular, you're referencing like the pushing, the shoving, the face washing, all that stuff.
Sure. The accepted, the fights, someone takes a stick and whacks somebody last night. That should be a penalty. That guy should be fined, maybe even suspended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so You can legislate it out if you wanted to, but I don't think they want to.
Well, they don't, because you'd be, again, it's the equivalent of, like, we can't even get a potential balls and strikes change behind the plate in baseball. Right. It would change the complete sport. I mean, and nobody in the sport wants it. Respectfully, you want it. You watch some Caps games. Like, people that like hockey don't want that.
Totally.
Why would they do that?
I fully acknowledge that.
Yeah.
That people don't want it. But I guess that's my point, is to say there's no other way. Sure there is, but people aren't excited about it.
Well,
like, in other words, to me, what should happen is people shouldn't have goons on their team. They should have.
They're gone, though, mostly.
They should have skilled players on their team.
Yeah, and if there's mostly gone.
If there's extracurricular stuff, well, whoever your fighters are, you should have 25 skilled guys.
The fighters are now pretty skilled. The fighters can, like,
more
Matt
so than
Rempe
before.
Of the Rangers can skate. You know, he's not Tom Wilson, but Tom Wilson is a top line player who scored 30 goals, maybe the best fighter in the league.
What's the guy's name? What's the guy's name from
Ryan
Vegas?
Reeves?
Yeah, Ryan Reeves. Yeah, less of that guy.
That guy doesn't exist anymore. You know, he's getting 4 minutes. I can't even tell you what team he's on. He's on his third team this season. So, like, they are doing the things you're talking about. There's way less fights. A guy like Alan May, respectfully, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus.
Why are you throwing him under the bus?
No, Mayday's my guy, but, like, he's not in the league right now,
right.
and maybe May would be because he's skilled enough. I didn't watch enough in that era, but my point is, you're not running around fighting people all the time. Like, look at Tom Wilson. He gets in a fight every 3 to 4 weeks. Used to be Tom Wilson's in a fight all the time. Doesn't happen. You might get, it's actually been ramped up a lot this week for some reason. I was just talking to someone about this in the NHL, but you could watch 10 Caps games in a row. You won't see a fight. That's not the case at any other point in any other era, really, up until now. So it is happening. They're getting rid of the illegal hits. They're getting rid of the fights. A lot of the stuff you don't like. But they can't just touch a button and change the game, like, and say, no extracurriculars. We're going to do it like football. And I guess if I said, I don't know if I did, but I said there's no other way to do it. You're right. There's another way. What I'm saying is I think it works how hockey does it. The policing of the game with players having to answer to one another does work. And it's been proven over a long time that it works. And I don't mind it. I happen to enjoy it. I love it. But I think it's a win for the sport that they can police themselves in that way. And they take more control out of the guys that ruin it, as far as I'm concerned, which is the Department of Player Safety and the referees and all that.